Hi, my name is Misha Sakharoff. I'm an integrative health engineer, and I help my clients to beat cancer, also terminal cancer. You see, there's a body of evidence in the modern world that there's an array of scientific-based, physiology-based techniques that are still alternative in relation to the mainstream techniques of working with cancer, like chemo and radiation. And these alternative techniques, they are fully scientific and physiology based, but they are still used um, on a trial basis. Different universities in the world, different research and development center that works with cancer. I work with two of these techniques because I call myself integrative health engineer. I actually integrate alternative techniques to create a very powerful synergy that can help you heal cancer. My protocol consists of a 5-star topology where the 2 points in the star, it's about optimizing energy intake. We take energy from the air and from the nutrition. From the air, by optimizing oxygen acquisition on the cellular level. I use technique called biochemical technique that is based on Bohr's law. You probably already asked yourself why I'm staying on the cemetery. This is kind of a morbid. The answer is because this grave is a grave of Christian Bohr, father of Niels Bohr, very, very well-known Danish physician. But Christian Bohr actually he understood a relationship between the gas balance in our lungs and in the blood with the level of oxygenation of cells. Now, this is called Bohr's law, and it was used by a Dr. Buteyko in Moscow, actually not in Moscow, in Russia, in Siberia, and then in Moscow in 1953 to formulate a Buteyko method. Now, Buteyko method showed that it is actually possible to reverse cancer by optimizing the oxygenation on the cell levels by changing the way we breathe. Now, this idea is used now in the method called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, where you are put in a special device that actually heightens the oxygenation on the cell levels. Now, Buteyko method is slower, but is in a way much stronger because it doesn't only change the way your cells behave right now, but it changes automatical breathing patterns that optimize cell oxygenation 24/7. It means when you work with this method, you will change your breathing forever. And what I do, I teach my clients physiology. I give them very, very strong tools to change the oxygenation on the cell level and actually to give the cancer cells two possibilities: to mutate back into normal state or die. Now, in this 5-star protocol, the second point in the star, it's called nutrition. And what we do, we optimize nutrition because you see, we have macronutrients and micronutrients, and we need both. But basically what we need to beat cancer is to change both oxygenation on the cell level to let the cancer cells return to normal state or to die, and we need to change glucose level in the body, because glucose level, what they do, high glucose It helps to proliferate um, an inflammation, a systemic inflammation. What another thing that high glucose levels do, they help cancer to thrive, because when cancer cells mutate from normal state to cancerous state, they use glucose to thrive. And actually, the pH level of this kind of tissue are too acidic. So what we do with the ketogenic diet, that is now used at different universities and research and development centers that work with cancer all around the world, right now, they are using ketogenic therapy together with actually both with with chemo and with radiation to help the patients to survive. Because what chemo and radiation do normally, it can kill cancer cells, yes, and it can cure your cancer sometimes, sometimes not. But what we can do, we can actually change the case of the cancer. And the case of the cancer is systemic inflammation and the lack of oxygenation on the cell level. So what I do in my 5-star protocol, I optimize breathing on cell level, and we optimize the nutrition actually on the cell level too. We stop systemic inflammation, and we actually establish the basis for cancer cells to die or to return, to mutate into the normal state. The rest 3 points in my protocol are about optimization of energy distribution. The first 2 were about optimization of energy acquisition from the environment. The rest is an optimization of energy distribution in the body. And we have 3 different kinds of resilience in our body. We have physical resilience, mental resilience, and immune resilience. By working with 3 areas with different kinds of exercise and actually combining these 3 areas in the exercise, in the breathing exercise, we can create a very, very powerful synergy that can help you to beat cancer yourself. Also, if you choose not to use conventional medicine, it works both with medicine and without medicine, because it actually lets your body heal itself. That's a very powerful technique, and I already have a very good experience with my clients of beating terminal cancers and tumors like terminal glioblastoma, the worst brain tumor, and blood cancers. Now, how I work. Here you can see example of the work. Now, this is how cancer healing looks like. You see a number of different graphs, and in this point, it's called 60 CP. Now, there's a body of evidence that this point corresponds to normal pH regulation in the blood and in the tissues. Now, the pH regulation in the blood, the pH has to be in very, very narrow area, from 7.35 to 7.45. Otherwise, it triggers abnormality of pH in the tissue. So when we bring the blood pH in this very, very narrow area, we normalize pH regulation in the tissues. That stops acidification of the tissue. That brings the environment where the cancer cells thrive from the abnormal to normal again. Now, every of my clients, they use a journal, and in this journal they write questions every day that I answer every day. We also write what we are going to work in every week of healing process to establish a strong healing process. Now in this graph you can see it's a data acquisition graph. Every each of my clients write his or her data in this graph every day. It's about 10 different measurements that are need to be taken. Measurements of sleep, measurements of breathing before and after sleep, the duration of sleep, the weight. There's a very different things like physical exercise. We measure everything with simple stopwatch. Here you can see this is a table where we acquired that data about blood values. And in blood values we're interested in glucose levels and in ketone levels. Glucose levels show us the proliferation of systemic inflammation. When we lower blood sugar levels, we can see actually that it's a very good process, and there's a body of evidence in the modern science that shows that cancer cells, if we get them under 3.6 millimole per liter of glucose, the cancer cells start dying actually. The other figures are the figures of ketone levels in urine and ketone levels in blood. Sometimes we also measure the breathing ketone levels. Now these measurements show us actually that we are in what we call nutritional ketosis, not ketoacidosis that we can die of. Ketoacidosis is not possible in the system that we work with, because in ketoacidosis we also have very, very high glucose levels. Glucose levels here are very low, and when ketone levels go up and cross some borders, then actually show us together with glucose levels that there's a ratio called a 1 ratio. If the ratio of ketone to sugar levels are above 1, that we are in the healing zone. So everything is measured very, very precisely. That's why I have an engineer background. So I created these tables, I created the protocol, and I created healing process for several of my clients that are either already cured or their cancer is reversed. Now, this is an example of healing of a cancer tumor. From the picture number 1 to picture number 3, there's a 1 year of everyday exercise, everyday supervision, and meeting once a week. So this is actually possible, and it can give you hope of curing your terminal cancer. Now, this is a very hard process. That's a simple process in a way, simple to understand when you know the physiology, but it's not easy, because it's everyday work. You go through the hard times where you lack the power of will. I help you to support it with a daily process. But that's why I work. Now, this system can actually help you heal every systemic disease, not only cancer, but also asthma, obesity, heart problems, diabetes, because it works actually re-establishing the power of immune system. It works with stopping systemic inflammation. But I choose only work with terminal cancer clients because they really want to survive and they really want to work every day. And that's what my clients do. Now, I don't have many places to be among my clients. I can only work with with a handful of people at a time. So, my name is Misha Sakharoff. I'm an integrative health engineer, and I help people beat cancer, also terminal cancer. You can see more at sakharoff.com. Have a nice day.